Alhamdulillah, wassalatu wassalamu ala rasulullah, amma ba'd. Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh, my dear brothers and sisters in Islam. I'd first like to thank you very much for giving this poor slave of Allah a chance and opportunity to speak, my dear brothers and sisters, here in HIYC in Melbourne. I had to remember those acronyms. May Allah bless you, and may Allah bless the Shaykh Abu Ayman, Hafidahullah, and give him a speedy recovery. Tahur la ba's, inshaAllah. And may Allah bless you, brothers and sisters, as you've spent your time, precious time here with us, and hopefully we can help one another to learn about our deen, and inshaAllah help one another also to go to Jannah, inshaAllah, according to the Quran and Sunnah. And may Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala give us steadfast to hold on to the deen of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala and save our children, especially in this time and age where Prophet Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam has told us that it's going to be difficult. There will come a time on the ummah, those who are holding on to La ilaha illallah Muhammadur Rasulullah, as you're holding on to a red hot stone. And indeed, may Allah make us among the ghuraba, as this deen started as being unique and estranged, as you will be unique and estranged later on. So I ask Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala to give us sincerity and give us the tawfiq and accept from us, to make it a plea for us, not against us, and give us the knowledge that will benefit us, be a plea for us, not against us. And inshallah we'll be on the right hand side scale on Judgment Day. Ameen. And gather us as He gathers us here tonight, to gather us with Prophet Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam in Jannah. Ameen. So one day you decided to come to Australia. You had the thought, just 2 years. I heard this country is really nice. It's nice and warm. Apparently, money grows on trees. You get a job real quick. And everything is easy, man. Just 2 years, and I'll be right back home where I started. Work, get the money and run. 20 years later, you're still here, thinking what happened about those 2 years you were thinking about. You found somebody here that you couldn't say no to, and all of a sudden you're married. Before you know it, I do. What happened? A few years later, you got 3 or 4 kids of your own. You say, that's it, man. I'm taking him back home for sure. They're graduating from college, somebody can knock on your door. Uncle, I have a beautiful daughter, I want to marry her. You're still wondering what happened to those 2 years. Along the road, you're still thinking, what do I do? How did I drop the ball? My son Muhammad is now called Mo. And my daughter Fatima is called Queen Latifah. And I'm thinking, this is the same son that I put everything in, and the same daughter that I actually purchased everything for. They look at you and smile, and they tell you, father, mother, so pious. Indeed, they fool you so much. They wear the hijab in front of you. As soon as they leave the house, the hijab goes off, the makeup goes on, the perfume goes on, the high heels, the bling bling. What happened, man? Your son wears the thobe and the kufi. As soon as he goes out, they do the Jekyll and Hyde. Inside the masjid, he's like Abu Bakr. Outside the masjid, he's like Abu Jahl. They have a Facebook account. They actually invite you in. Your name is Muhammad. It's true. That's my son, Muhammad. And all of a sudden, you find out there's another Facebook account, and your name is Muhammad Deen. Now his name is Diablo. Your own daughter, Fatima, she has another Facebook account. It's called Foxy Mama. And the hijab is off, man, and she's kissing the air in the corner. I have no idea what they pose for that. They think they're going to get married that way. Shaitan plays games with their mind, and you start thinking, well, how did I drop the ball? I should have gone home. I shouldn't even come to this place. You start wondering, will I be held accountable on Judgment Day? Because I hear Prophet Muhammad says, كَفَى بِالْمَرْءِ إِثْمًا أَن يُضَيِّعْ مَا يَقُوتُ وَفِي رِوَايَةٍ مَا يَعُولُ. It is sufficient of a sin that you lead astray those who you shepherd, or those who you are entrusted with, or those who you spend money upon. Meaning your children.
And you start wondering, will I get an exception like Prophet Ibrahim alayhi salam? Or another one just like Prophet Nuh alayhi salam? Is it istithna la yaqumu alayhi qa'ida? Is this now you cannot build a theory upon this? Will Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala hold me accountable on Judgment Day for the son and the daughter that I have, that I lost control totally over? They speak in a different language now, and I'm still talking to them in my language. And every time I talk to them, it says, when I was your age. You remember that? Your father still says the same. Your mom maybe says the same. When I was your age, I went to school, bare feet, in the snow, uphill, both ways. I'm still thinking, how do you go uphill both ways? And we ate dirt, and we were thankful. And they're talking to you not even in sentences, not even in words. They're speaking in letters now. You look at the text, you go, Rolf? What is this? What kind of letters are they? You start wondering. You don't even know. You give them that puppy look. Huh? They're laughing at you. You don't know the lingo. You don't know what's going on. But you're still wondering, what happened? So let's talk quickly, inshallah, for this map. We're going to stick to the topic, inshallah, practical parenting. So we're going to give you some practical examples. Build a bridge from the past for a better future, inshallah. And how you can be a practical parent. And you'll find out that Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala put this whole thing, creation, was a relationship between a parent and the children. And He gave you one word that built everything upon, and they had everything in common. If you listen to the verses well, and you read the Quran with the lenses of a parent, you'll hear these verses, but with a different perspective. You will pick up one word, and that's your key. The key to keep you away from the hellfire, and the key to attain you Jannah. Listen carefully, you'll find the common word in the verses. Ya ayyuhan nas, inna khalaqnakum min dhakarin wa untha. وَجَعَلْنَاكُمْ شُعُوبًا وَقَبَائِلَ لِتَعَارَفُوا إِنَّ أَكْرَمَكُمْ عِنْدَ اللَّهِ أَتْقَاكُمْ. O mankind, we have created you from a male and a female, and made you into nations and tribes so you may know one another. Indeed, the most noble in the sight of Allah amongst you is the one that has taqwa. يا أيها الناس اتقوا ربكم الذي خلقكم من نفس واحدة وخلق منها زوجها وبث منهما رجالا كثيرا ونساء واتقوا الله الذي تساءلون به والأرحام إن الله كان عليكم رقيبا. O mankind, we have created you from a single soul, alluding to Adam alayhi salam. And in the end of the verses it says, وَاتَّقُوا اللَّهَ الَّذِي تَسَاءَلُونَ بِهِ وَالْأَرْحَامِ. Al-Arham alluding to Eve alayhi salam, Hawa. So if you notice, there is a trend that Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala is mentioning. This whole creation, this whole world is about a relationship between a parent and a child. And the key is mentioned in the verse a few times. And that is your key. If you listen again, you'll find out that Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala is linking the human being, parents and children, with the hereafter. And the key is the word, if you picked it up, is taqwa. Why is taqwa so important? Why is it so important to you? Because if you go back in the Quran, you'll find out وَإِن مِّنكُمْ إِلَّا وَارِدُهَا كَانَ عَلَى رَبِّكَ حَتْمًا مَقْضِيًّا ثُمَّ نُنَجِّي الَّذِينَ اتَّقَوْا وَنَظْرُ الظَّالِمِينَ فِيهَا جِثِيًّا. Subhanallah. None of you except that pass over the hellfire. There is no exception. But then there was one exception. If you attain what? You'll be exempt. ثُمَّ نُنَجِّي الَّذِينَ اتَّقَوْا. May Allah make us among the muttaqeen. Ameen. Then we will save on that day is 50,000 years, where the sun leaves its orbit, comes close to your head. People will be drenched in the sweat. There's only one attribute and character that will save you on that day. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala give you the key. He says taqwa. You'll be saved. And everybody else will buckle when they see the hellfire come. You'll find out, my dear brothers and sisters in Islam, the key starts with you. And I usually talk to the brothers first. I usually address the sisters first, but this one I'm going to talk to the brothers first. Because if you go to Surah Taha, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, when he's talking to Adam and Eve, he was talking in a dual tense. فَأَزَلَّهُمَا الشَّيْطَانُ أَخْرَجَهُمَا مِمَّا كَانَ فِيهِ. Everything in dual tense. But when Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala spoke to one person and held one person accountable, who did he hold accountable? Did he hold Eve, Hawa accountable? No, he didn't. He says, وَعَصَى آدَمُ رَبَّهُ فَغَوَى. So let's talk to Adam within you. Weren't you the one that go and knock on the sister's door and ask for her hand in marriage? Wasn't she the fertile ground that you were told that you will plant the seed in? In the Quran says, Nisa'ukum harthun lakum. Harth, plantation, cultivation, the ground. You see, in that verse, you become a gardener. A smart gardener invests in the garden. So you take the weed away from the beautiful tree. When you take the weed away, that means you are responsible for the well-being of the environment. Not just healthy environment, but a righteous environment. And then you trim the tree by raising awareness, educate, by leading by example. Especially khuluq and deen. And then you quench the thirst of that tree with lawful sources of income. And then you get the fruit of that beautiful tree to be your children. So if you go back, you'll find out it's all about you, akhi. Did you choose a righteous wife when Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala says, وَأَنْكِحُوا الْأَيَامَ مِنْكُمْ وَالصَّالِحِينَ? Help or assist or wed the single amongst you. وَعَطْفْ وَالصَّالِحِينَ. Righteous. That means if you don't marry a righteous spouse, you have just gone against the order of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. So we blame no one else except you. So most of us should really point the finger to ourselves. Because when the mashayikh, you get the complaints of the parents inside their offices, the first thing they say is, I'm losing my daughter, I'm losing my son. The only thing we say, how did you raise them? How were they raised? Oh, they were raised very well. French immersion school, private school. They drank tea, pinky up, posh posh. And they wore osh gosh bigosh, oh my gosh. Wallahi akhi, we're not asking you for this, we're asking for tarbiyah, habibi. Akun Quran and Sunnah. Get it? So I won't go to the 4x4, I won't go to because the time is restricted, so we'll stick to this. But the reason I said this, because being proactive, these are practical examples. So when you chose your wife, akhi, based on what you said I do, or based on what you chose your wife, let's go quickly through this because it's extremely important. This is digging back in the home sweet home, but that's fine. We're talking about parenting, but this is being proactive now. Okay, so Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala mentioned a few things. Prophet Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam mentioned a few things. When I asked the brothers in university most of the time, based on what akhi did you choose your wife? Do you remember the hadith of Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam? So yes, of course I know the hadith. Okay, what do you know about the hadith, man? لجمالها. Okay. What else, man? لجمالها. Yeah, I got that. I got you covered. All right. What's number 3? لجمالها, of course. My man, I heard you. Wallahi, dude, I got you down. Dude, you're here. I got you. I heard you. Maybe I misheard you again. Number 4. Did I mention لجمالها? Right. So that's the only thing they remember. I got you covered. But what happened, man? You remember everything else when you say فَظْفَرْ بِذَاتِ الدِّينِ تَرِبَتْ يَدَاكَ. The true winning and the true success is the owner and the religious background. So Prophet Muhammad ﷺ says this is the only one. Remember, the scholar says it's positive and negative. That means if she has religious background, mean taribat, you mean this is a sustenance, provisions, that means positive. If she has the religious background. But if she doesn't have background, the religious background, taribat yadak ay iltasaqat yadaka bit-turab. You will lose everything. Your hand will touch dust, nothing, you will get nothing. So when Prophet Muhammad ﷺ said that, Ibn Hajar al-Asqalani rahmatullahi alayhi in Fath al-Bari, he explains the hadith. He says first, you look for the beauty, not the deen. Is he going against the hadith? Of course he's not going against the hadith. But he explained it in order for us to understand it. What is it? He says because if you don't look for beauty first, if you look for the deen first, if the sister has the deen, then you look for the sister and you don't see what you like, you're going to say no. I'm going to keep this family show as much as possible, inshallah. Then if you say no, you just refuse the deen. But if you look for the beauty first, something that pleases your eye, that you like what you say, now you ask for the deen. If you have the deen, you say accept, you accept according to the deen, or you refuse accordingly, not the beauty. So now when I talk to the sisters, when you come to complain about the husband and he does the drugs, he drinks, he beats me, he does all that stuff, he doesn't pray. It's okay, ukhti, based on what did he say I do to this man? You know what they say? Did you see this? How could I say no to that? His beautiful tie or that hair, the pecs and the six-pack. How could I say no to that, man? He came in, he drove in with a Mercedes Benz. Okay, ukhti. But remember, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala mentioned two things in the Quran and two things in the Sunnah. In the Quran, He says, Ya abati istajir, inna khayra man istajart, al-qawiy al-amin. Oh, my father, hire him. I love this piece because my wife told her father that when I went to ask for hand in marriage. So it means a lot to me. And this verse is very special to my heart. Oh, my father, hire him, because the best of those who you hired, qawi, strong. In what? At-Tabari rahmatullahi alayhi says ad-deen. Strong in iman. But the scholars now say strong in every aspect of life. Intellectually, academically, financially, mentally, physically, everything. Strong. Ameen, trustworthy, because you're entrusting your life with him, ukhti. And then the two in the hadith is khuluq and deen, or deen and khuluq, both. Taqdeem and ta'khir, no problems, inshallah. So you have four things. The khuluq and deen comes in, ukhti, and I won't be able to explain the whole thing. Moral conduct and religious background. These are the four that you look for in a husband. Same thing. That's being proactive. These are practical things in order for you to start your family on the right track. Okay. So you started your family. Alhamdulillah, congratulations. You've been promoted, you're hired. You're now a husband. You left the singlehood, you're in the hood. Okay, but you have no idea how to deal with anything. There are 6 secrets. 6 secrets that you need to know before you get married. And going into parenting now, because you get this bundle of joy that changes your life. You know why they're so special? Because before you had that, you were just called a husband or a wife. But after you have your child, you're called a father and a mother. Major difference. I remember one brother that wanted to do this right. He wanted to make sure that their child comes in according to Quran and Sunnah, and he wanted to be proactive. So he read this Tuhfat al-Arus, right? And he learned everything, and he wanted to make the dua. He wanted to make sure according to Sunnah, man. So he kept saying, Allahumma jnibna shaitan wa jnib shaitan ma razaqtana. Ya Shaykh, what do we say? He said this dua. He keeps remember that. But on the wedding night, when he saw his wife, she looked so beautiful, he forgot the dua. So he's going, Subhanalladhi sakhar lana hadha wa ma kunna lahu muqrinin. La hawla wa la quwwata illa billah. He easily remembered some dua. So now being proactive when you have the children is before the conception, before they're even born. You understand that the first haqq for your children, according to the scholars, is choosing the righteous spouse. First haqq. And at the time of conception, the dua. Oh Allah, keep shaitan away from us and keep shaitan away from what you're going to bless us with, meaning the children. Amazing, isn't it? You know, some of the scholars now say you should even actually play Quran because they listen to it. You know, the Japanese have beaten us for a lot of things. They're tired of inventing too many things. We should come up and do something, wallahi. We should help the Japanese, ya akhi. Because we're consumers now, right? We're not producers. Okay, so they say, you know what? They used to teach their children in the womb. So we should actually talk about Quran in the womb. We mentioned the ayat, we mentioned the adhkar, we mentioned the dua, the ahadith. Yes, alhamdulillah. But you remember the day your wife came to you and says, honey, I have some good news. Doctor told me I'm pregnant. So you prostrate to Allah, thank Him for the hibah. It's a gift He's given you. You start putting your hand on her tummy. Oh, I felt a kick. You start talking now. Picking names, picking colors, picking clothes, painting the wall. And now you're treating your wife like she holds the future of humanity in her womb. Don't move too much. Don't carry this. Let me get that for you. Your parents, the in-laws, I won't talk about politics. Do you treat her like a queen? Totally different now. Let me carry this for you. No, let me cook. I'll make dinner. I'll clean this. Don't worry. Sit here. Put your feet up. Foot massage. No problems. Clean up. Water on aisle 9. Allah Azza khair. I'll just drink from the glass. Forgive me, Sheikh. This will be the first and last time I come to HIOC. These guys will kick me out. I'm barred now. No more drinking for you. I don't even drive. May Allah help you, inshallah. Okay. So, you won't forget the day. It's true. And you won't forget the day that your wife seen death with her own eyes, given your child birth. You won't forget the day that she actually looked at you for the first time and smiled. You won't forget the day that they looked at you and say, Baba or Mama. You won't forget the day they took the first step for the first time. You won't forget the day they actually went to school for the first time. You missed them already. When did they come back? I want to hug them and make me forget the misery of the world. You won't forget the day that they gone to college. Things go far. And then you wonder, what happened? Back to circle one. So, practical examples now. First one. By show of hands, who takes their children to Fajr prayer in the masjid? MashaAllah. 1, 2, Allahu Akbar. 3, Alhamdulillahi Rabbil Alameen. So lesson number 1, practical. We're talking practical examples now. You need to bring your child with you to pray Fajr prayer. All right? Let me tell you something. Some of us will not let your son do what? Go to sleep if there's a soccer game or a swim meet or a school or some kind of a exam. You won't let them go to wake up, man. But to let them go through sleep while it's Fajr prayer, it's okay. Sheikh Yahya Ibrahim Hafidahullah says when he traveled, he met this family. It was Fajr prayer. He says he got up, the father got up and was praying. He says, where is your son? He goes, let them sleep, they're tired, they're kids. Said, what kids, man? The guy has a mustache, 6'4", can't go through the door. What child? Dude, how you doing? Your daughter's ready to get married, what's up? We have a different measuring stick, akhi. So lesson number 1, do not give a mixed message or the wrong message to your children. That your school or your swim team or your soccer practice is more important than Fajr prayer. So from now on, you need to get your child, at least when they get to 7, or they differentiate between boys and girls, to come to pray Fajr prayer with you in the masjid. They should grow in the masjid. شاب نشأ في طاعة الله. A youth that was raised in that obedience of Allah. رجل قلبه معلق في المساجد. A man's heart linked to the masjid. You know what that means? You pray a prayer and you can't hardly wait. When is the next prayer? Come out, you need to come back. It's just like fish out of water. Not bird in a cage, the opposite. Then step number 2. Talking proactive, now practical. When you come to the masjid for Fajr, or leave the masjid going home, you need to say Adhkar al-Sabah together now. I understand that somebody says, take my whom to what and where? Take my son to the masjid, pray Fajr? Dude, I don't even pray Fajr. How do you want me to take my son to Fajr prayer? I'm just giving you flags, that's all. I'm just going to tell you, you need to change, that's all. Because you already know you're going to be held accountable on Judgment Day for them. And there's nothing worse than you lead them astray. Nothing worse, according to Hadith. Okay. So what am I asking for? If you come to that door, prayed Isha tonight, I want you to walk out that door a different person. That's it. Very simple. That's why we're at Mercy Mission. Our logo is what? What's the twins of faith? Ilman amal, which that means knowledge and action. We get the knowledge, we put it in practice. That's it. That's all I'm asking for you, brothers and sisters, wallahi. Okay. So I don't know the adhkar. Guess what, champ? You need to learn that adhkar. It's in Hisn al-Muslim, Fortress of Muslim. Raise your hand if you have Hisn al-Muslim. MashaAllah. That's good. Very good. Now, raise your hand if you have an Android or iPhone, smartphone. Okay. You know Sheikh Bilal Phillips says, if you have a smartphone and you don't have Hisn al-Muslim, you need to make tawbah. You need to download this app, which is free. Okay, and you need to start remembering the adhkar, the remembrance of the morning, the remembrance at night. Practical. I'm just giving you pointers. That's all. Whether you take it or not, it's up to you. All right. So when we learn the adhkar, let's say together. Now I learn. Oh son, let's learn together. Fantastic. We come to pray together. Alhamdulillah. We say the adhkar together. Fantastic. What happens? You build the bond. Not just between you and Allah, which is the best relationship, because the scholar says, أصلح ما بينك وبين الله يصلح الله ما بينك وبين العباد. Repair the relationship between you and Allah, Allah will repair the relationship between you and His creation. Very simple. So I build the bond with my son, and your wife will do the same thing at home. We pray Fajr together. Let's say the adhkar. And then when you pick him from school, you say Adhkar al-Masa' together. You build your whole life around Qala Allah, Qala Rasul. Now, it's now called the art of delegation. I need to give him homework. To do what? We need to have a family halaqah at home once a week. My son, you are going to teach us this verse next week. You have 1 week to prepare for it. My daughter, you're going to teach us what this hadith means, and the ibar wal idat will derive the ahkam, the lessons learned and the wisdom behind it. What to do, what not to do, what is halal and what is haram, what is lawful and unlawful, from the verse and from the hadith. That means you're giving him responsibility, and you give them the tools to use the technology in a positive way. They can now use or ask Sheikh Google and do the homework, inshallah. Okay. On top of that, you need to have deen and dunya, right? A beautiful combination. Moderation. So what are we going to do? No matter how many children I have, I need to have a special date with my son or special date with my daughter. I'm going to concentrate on one person at a time. If I take him, let's do something, man. Let's go work out together. Let's play soccer together. Let's go swim together. Let's go shopping together, whatever it is. Okay, daughter? All right, let's do this. Let's go shopping. Let's go to ice cream, whatever it is. It's concentrated on that day. That's an investment, bond. You know why? Because Ibn al-Qayyim rahmatullahi alayhi, it says in order for you to teach anyone, and especially your kids, you have to have the golden 3 rule. The thrill, which is what? Alif thumma arif thumma kallif. Alif, mend the hearts. Let them at least like you, not hate you. Thumma arif, then educate. Thumma kallif, then obligate. All right? How many of us, when we attack our children, we got the 111 and the gun? Right? You're wrong. You're going straight to hell. Everything is haram. Yeah, remember that? Yeah, apparently nothing is halal in Islam. Apparently we're all going to hellfire, unfortunately. Okay, fantastic. But what are we going to do, man? We need to change, inshallah. Okay. Because your son looks for what? For an alternative. He looks for something. You live here now, and all of a sudden, he says, you know what, Dad? I've been thinking about this Islam thing. Then you know what you're supposed to say? Okay, what's her name, man? That's bottom line is, you know what? He wants to leave Islam because of what? Because of a girl. Because this girl doesn't want to become a Muslim, and you already told him if you marry this, you're a kafir, and you're out of the mirath. You're mahroom min mirath. You're out of the herd. Yeah, I'm cutting you off the inheritance. So you guess what? He likes the girl more than he likes Islam. You can keep your Islam, I'm keeping the girl. It's not his Islam, it's just because we gave him the wrong message. We didn't tell him what Islam is all about, nor that we led by example, nor that we actually gave him the positive, we called him the negative only. You understand? Okay. What happens? After you have the date, you bond, then raise awareness. How, man? Well, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala says, Ud'u ila sabil rabbika. How? First thing is hikmah. Wisdom. You need to speak their language. Understand what they go through, the environment they're in. And when you obligate, you do it in the best way possible. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala told Prophet Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam what? وَلَوْ كُنْتَ فَضًّا غَلِيظَ الْقَلْبِ لَانْفَضُّوا مِنْ حَوْلِكَ. If you were harsh-hearted, you were difficult with them, they would have forsook you and fled. They fled away. That's the best of creation. You understand, you need to deal with your children in a different manner now. Let me give you an example of something called the elephant theory. And hopefully you didn't hear that, nor that you're using that. Some of us may have. Does this sound familiar? You're an idiot. You're a loser. I wish I never had you. Why can't you be like? You're worthless. Have you heard these words before? Words that kill. You know what that's called? That's called the elephant theory. You know what the elephant theory is all about? You know, when the elephant is young, they put a shackle, steel shackle on their ankle, and they firmly plant it in the ground, cemented. They can't move it anywhere. So the elephant tries to get away, but they can't. As the elephant grows, he already have a psychological block that every time he tries, he can't get away, so he just submits. Even though the elephant is big and strong and can take it away, as soon as they put the shackle on the ankle, they submit, they can't move. So if you're telling your child, you're a loser, you're worthless, you're an idiot, I wish I never had you, you're the most important person in his life or her life. You have an S on your chest. And who you think who you are, who you're told who you are. So your child thinks the most important people to me, the one that you're supposed to protect me, the one that is supposed to nurture me, is telling me that I'm an idiot. I must be an idiot. I must be stupid. I am worthless. You just killed your child. Congratulations. I'm happy for you. So what are we going to do, man? We're going to change from now on. Honey, I love you. But your behavior is unacceptable. That's a major difference. You need to differentiate between the person and the action. From now on, it's not you. I love you, but your behavior is unacceptable. Major difference. And from here on in, you're going to say, Dr. Fulan, Engineer Fulan, Hafid Fulan, or Qari Fulan, or Alim Fulan, or Sheikh Fulan, or Lawyer Fulan, so and so. You're going to put it on their door. It's a major visual effect that will actually stick in their mind and heart and soul. You raise them such that they are successful. They're meaning something. They are worth a lot. They're the world to you. Now, as they grow, you need to use the 21 theory. Ali ibn Abi Talib radiallahu anh mentioned two things I'm going to share with you. First of all, he says, raise your children in a different way that you were raised in, because they were born and raised in a different time and a different environment. So when I was your age, it goes out the door, right? File it under G. Because they're not. You can't raise them the way you were raised. And we live through our children. We want them to be what we wanted to be, but we failed to do it. So we force our children to live our own dreams, but they're different people. So why don't we cater to them? See what their strengths are and nurture that. Feed that. There's a test that tells you what your child is actually good at and not so good at. Work on that. Yes, it's 100 questions or even more, but that's worth it. And then you understand that Ali ibn Abi Talib talked about the 21 theory, which means the first 7 years, you nurture them. Give them all the TLC you want, all the tools they need. The second 7 years, you give them the rules and regulations, what to do, what not to do, what is halal and what is haram. Roadmap, every tool they need to actually combat this life. The third 7 years, you befriend them. That's the teenage years. Because it's too late by then. You understand why Prophet Muhammad says, "Muru awladakum lis-salati li-7' wadribuhum 'alayhim bil-'ashr wa farriqu baynahum fi al-madaji'." Command them to pray at 7. That's why Ali ibn Abi Talib says at 7 years old, that's when you're supposed to pick it up. And discipline at 10 and separate between them in beds. The scholars are different. Is it 7 years or 10 years? And the majority of the scholars now say 7 years, because they're now new and improved, industrial strength. They can teach you a thing or two. So my dear brothers and sisters in Islam, that's a quick journey through the life of a child before they were even there. Spouse. Before the conception, the dua. And actually when they're born, the adhan. You know why? Ibn Taymiyyah rahmatullahi alayhi, Shaykh al-Islam Ibn Taymiyyah rahmatullahi alayhi says, when they hear the adhan, the da'wah of Allah precedes the da'wah of shaitan. The first thing he hears is, La ashhadu an la ilaha illallah, ashhadu anna Muhammadan Rasulullah. So tawheed is in their heart and soul. The first thing. As a matter of fact, he says the first thing, as soon as they start speak, he says, teach him. Teach him the tawheed, teach him shahada. Teach him to say, ashhadu an la ilaha illallah, or ashhadu anna Muhammadur Rasulullah. But what do we teach him first? Money. Okay, how many of us raise our kids to be our retirement plan? Listen, man, I'm just being honest with you, right? We invest everything. You're going to be a doctor, son, and that's it. You have no choice. You're a doctor, you're an engineer, you're a lawyer. That's my retirement plan. I can chill now. But how about this, akhi and ukhti? Raise your children to be your retirement plan, but the Jannah, man. Your retirement plan here in this life is great, but how about your retirement plan in the hereafter? What's my proof? Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. What did he say? وَقَدِّمُوا لِأَنفُسِكُمْ. Proceed for thyself. You know what that is? Yes, I understand some interpretation called foreplay, but the authentic interpretation of the majority, this is your children preceding you. Have you not heard the hadith? إِذَا مَاتَ ابْنِ آدَمَ انْقَطَعَ عَمَلُهُ إِلَّا مِنْ ثَلَاثٍ. If the child of Adam dies, their actions he didn't cut off except of 3. Help me out. Number 1. Sadaqatun jariyah, ongoing charity. Number 2. Beneficial knowledge. علم ينتفع به. Number 3. وَلَدٌ صَالِحْ يَدْعُو لَهُ وَكُلُّ مَوْلُودٌ وَلَدٌ. Not a son. Every child that is born is actually called walad. Mawlud. They will make dua for you. How will they know that they make dua for you if they don't even know the ABCs of Islam? If you didn't invest in them. And the last thing I will leave you, inshallah, is the time you spend with them. Spend time with them. before you have to spend time with them. You see, we call this the dollar sign dad and the career mom. Don't be a dollar sign dad, akhi. You see, you don't spend time with your kids. You think the only job you have to do is bring food on the table, roof over their head, clothes on their back. That's my job. I'm the S sign. I'm the dollar sign dad. I don't spend time with you. I don't know you. I don't even know your favorite color, know your favorite sport or what you want to do. I don't know you. You don't know me. So they see you as a dollar sign. So when they grow up, when they have their money, they think they need you. They don't need you anymore. They'll tell you, Dad, you weren't even there for me when I was young. Why should I be there for you when you're old? So don't be a dollar sign dad, man. Spend time with your children before you have to spend time with your children. You know where? In the hospital, in prison, in the rehab center, or in the morgue. Take your pick. Which one do you want? You know the story of the man that didn't see his son much? His son goes up to him after he came from work. He says, Dad, how much do you make an hour? He says, get away from me. The son goes to turn around in tears, walk away from his father. The father realized he made a mistake. He goes back. Sorry, son. I make $10 an hour. The son goes up to him and says, here you go, Dad. I saved $10. Can I have 1 hour of your time? Career mom. I've seen this with my own eyes, by the way. Woman drops off her daughter in the daycare provider. She comes back. By the way, they don't spend time with them. The whole day is at work. They go home, somebody else looks after them, cooks the food, nurse this, change that. And then she came to pick up her daughter at night after. Well, you know what happened to her daughter? Her daughter cried. Why do you think her daughter cried? Because she thinks that she's going away from her mother. She thinks the daycare provider is actually her mother. And this woman is taking her away from her mother. Don't be a career mom, ukhti. Lastly, I want you to imagine on that day, spending eternal time with your family in Jannah. ألحقنا بهم ذريتهم. Those who are righteous, what happens? Your offsprings will come back to you to spend Jannah in Dar al-Qarar. No more death, no more traveling, no more moving. Finishing off with the same key in Surah An-Nisa to seal the deal. Most of us fear for our kids. So Allah give you the answer. Listen carefully. وَلْيَخْشَى الَّذِينَ لَوْ تَرَكُوا مِنْ خَلْفِهِمْ ذُرِّيَّةً ضَعَافًا خَافُوا عَلَيْهِمْ فَلْيَتَّقُوا اللَّهَ وَلْيَقُولُوا قَوْلًا سَدِيدًا. Amazing, wallahi. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala gave you the answer over 1400 years ago. It's if you fear for your lineage, if you fear for your offsprings, your progeny. He says He gave you 2 down payments. Of course, it's an insurance policy and a Swiss bank account. No? You're right. He's فَلْيَتَّقُوا اللَّهَ وَلْيَقُولُوا قَوْلًا سَدِيدًا. You know the word فَلْيَتَّقُوا اللَّهَ has so many things in it, in itself. First of all, it starts with the letter fa, which means fa at-ta'qib. In ulum al-Quran, which means expedient, rush, do not procrastinate. Fa. Then lam. If the lam goes into a fi'l mudara, تجيب الطلب والأمر. The letter lam, if it goes into a present tense, that's ongoing. It means a command and a request. So Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala gave you the 2 down payments, man. فَلْيَتَّقُوا اللَّهَ وَلْيَقُولُوا قَوْلًا سَدِيدًا. Either enjoining good or forbidding evil, or the righteous utterance. But the roadmap is there for you. Whether to take it or not, it's up to you. So we learned a lot tonight. We'll finish it with a question and answer period, but from me. We'll leave the floor, inshallah. Because I use the 3 tells method. Tell them what you're going to tell them, and tell them what you told them. I told you what we're going to talk about, and I told you. And then let's now talk about what we talked about. So, we will get you candy sometime, inshallah. I owe you. I'm going to ask the sisters with some questions and brothers some questions, inshallah. And see who was actually listening. Usually sisters win, but may Allah help us, inshallah. I'm rooting for you, man. Don't let me down, dude. All right. Sisters, there was a connection between creation that Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala mentioned in so many verses between two groups. Do you remember what two groups were? Okay, you can do a sign language. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala mentioned two groups, the reason of creation, in different verses. Anyone? Okay, maybe the brothers can help him out. What are the two groups? Allah yaftah alayk ya Sheikh. Parents and children. MashaAllah. Okay. Now it's the brothers' turn. Brothers, there was a common word that was repeated in Allah yaftah alayk. Ya salam. I'm so impressed, man. I am seriously impressed. MashaAllah. Allahumma ja'alna muttaqeen. Allah give you taqwa, akhi. Barakallahu feek. Very good. Sisters, Allah subhanahu wa jalla fi ula mentioned two things you should do if you fear for your lineage. Do you remember what they are? I finished with them. They should be fresh in your mind. Unless the sister is not allowed to speak in this town, that's cool. I'm cool. You remember the two things Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala mentioned in Surah An-Nisa, if you fear for your lineage? Just give me one out of the two. MashaAllah. Thank you, sisters. I love you, man. Just kidding. He's right. He's فَلْيَتَّقُوا اللَّهِ وَلْيَقُولُوا قَوْلًا سَدِيدًا. Fantastic. We'll call it a tie. It's a tie, okay? All right, we'll have a tie break. A tie break. Okay. You know, tie break is very simple. I'm going to say a question, a little bit tricky. Had to be listening to get it. But the fastest hand now gets to answer the question. It's between the brothers and the sisters. But as soon as you raise your hand, I stop. I will not complete the question or repeat the question. If you get it right, you and your team win. If you get it wrong, the other team wins by default, and your team will hate you for life. No pressure. No pressure. All right. Tie-break question. Are you ready? What is the elephant theory? Okay. So I think your hand was up first. Go ahead, Akhi.
Basically, it's a mental conditioning.
Right on.
For when you tie an elephant when he's young, tries to get away.
MashaAllah.
Grows up, tie him again, he can get away, but mentally conditioned from a young age.
MashaAllah.
Gives up already.
He got it wrong. The sisters win. Power to the sisters. I'm just kidding. No, he got it right. I'm just kidding. He's absolutely right. May Allah bless you, Allah. Fantastic. Jazakumullah khair, my dear brothers and sisters in HIYC. Is that right? Something like that? Wallahi, I love you for the sake of Allah, and may Allah bless you, inshallah. I won't forget you in my dua, so don't forget me. It is the words that I wanted to share with you. So may Allah make it sincere for His sake and accept from us. And if you have any questions, by all means, if not, may Allah bless you all, inshallah. Subhanak Allahumma bihamdik. Nashru an la ilaha illa ant. Nastaghfiruka wa natubu ilayk. Jazakumullah anna khaira. Wassalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh.